If I were over 40 and I needed to lose 20 pounds, I would not start by cutting out carbs. I would not start with 2 hours of cardio a day, and I would not touch a detox tea. If you're new here, my name is Dr. Esra Shermadou. I'm a board-certified family and obesity medicine physician, and here's what I actually do. 5 things in order, and stick around for number 5 because that's the one that almost nobody talks about. And to be honest, my goal wouldn't be to just lose 20 pounds. My goal would be to lose fat while holding onto as much muscle as I possibly could, because I don't just want to be a smaller number on the scale. I want to come out on the other side of this stronger and metabolically healthier than when I started, because I want these results to actually last. And I'd still want to be able to eat more than broccoli and chicken and protein shakes by the time I'm done. Number 1, I'd figure out exactly where I'm starting. You can't fix what you actually haven't looked at. And I don't mean just the number on the scale, though for sure that's part of it too. You can't type a destination to a GPS without telling it where you're starting. It can't map out a route to nowhere. I want to know my weight and my waist circumference, my body composition if I have access to it, and in my office we do, my blood pressure, my labs, the metabolic markers that actually matter, like your fasting insulin, your hemoglobin A1C, your triglycerides, and the rest of your lipid panel, and other inflammatory markers too. I take a look at what medications I'm on and the dosages. I'd evaluate how I'm sleeping, how many hours, what's the quality of my sleep, and how I actually feel when I wake up. And I'd look at what my activity really looks like day to day, not just what I think it looks like. How many steps am I actually getting? How many days am I working out? What am I doing for those workouts? But honestly, the biggest piece, I'd take a hard, honest look at what I'm actually eating, because nutrition plays the biggest role when it comes to losing weight. What's my breakfast? What am I truly snacking on? Yes, lips, sips, and bites count too. What am I drinking? The coffee, the seltzer, the wine on Friday? What does dinner look like? And what happens on the weekends when the routine might fall apart? You don't need to track every calorie for the rest of your life, but you need to actually know what you're doing before you try to change it. For some of my clients, I have them simply take pictures of what they're eating and we break it down together. Others prefer journaling and measuring things with a measuring cup or scales. Others prefer using an app. There are even some apps out there now that estimate the volume of food that you're eating just by you taking a picture of it. And the goal with awareness isn't to change everything all at once. It's the small, consistent changes that actually fit your lifestyle that make these things sustainable. And that's our goal. Because here's what usually happens, and perhaps this may have been you in the past. Someone decides that they need to lose weight and they go straight to something drastic, cutting out all the carbs, skipping breakfast, eating 1,000 calories, and just white knuckling it. Most of the time, the fix that you actually need is a lot smaller. Plus, when you hit a plateau, and you will because that's normal, you're going to want to have other things that you can still modify to get fat loss moving again. Maybe your breakfast has almost no protein in it. Maybe you're drinking 400 calories before noon and don't even realize it. Maybe you're barely eating all day and finding yourself ravenous by 8 p.m., ending the night with fast food and Netflix because you can't fathom the thought of making decisions about your dinner. But before I'd overhaul anything, I'd figure out what actually needs to change, not what I assume needs to change, and focus on one change first. Number 2, I'd prioritize protein, fiber, and food quality. Protein would be my biggest priority when it comes to nutrition. I know there's a huge hype out there about protein right now, to the point where it can honestly get a little annoying, but it really is that necessary for our muscles and our overall health. And I'd focus on lean protein sources, not fatty red meats or fried foods. Those are fine every once in a while, but they shouldn't be the staple of your diet. Because again, I don't want to lose weight. I want to lose fat, protect my muscle, and improve my energy and metabolic health for life. Now, the standard recommendation, the RDA, is around 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. But here's the thing most people miss. That number was designed to prevent deficiency. It was never designed to help you preserve muscle, especially not while you're in a calorie deficit, and especially not as you're getting older. For a lot of active adults, I like somewhere around 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of an appropriate goal or lean body weight, individualized of course to activity, level, and tolerance. And I really recommend my patients to aim for at least 30 grams of protein at each meal, because that's roughly the amount of protein that your body needs to actually trigger muscle protein synthesis. Now, research shows that this stimulus occurs with about 20 to 40 grams of protein at one time. And we know that as we get older, anabolic resistance develops, which means that it's harder for us to build muscle. So aiming for the middle ground is a good place to start, especially when most people are way under eating their protein throughout the day. And I wouldn't stop at protein. I'd make sure I was getting plenty of fiber, plenty of fruits and vegetables, quality carbs like whole grains, beans, legumes. Fiber plays a huge role in a healthy gut. It helps regulate your bowels, sure, but it also supports a healthy microbiome, which is tied to a stronger immune system, better mental health, and a lower risk of colorectal cancer specifically. And carbs are not the enemy. They fuel your training. They come with nutrients and fiber your body actually needs. I'd focus on whole grains. Think single ingredient carbs like lentils, beans, rice, potatoes, oatmeal. Now, some people can generally have certain intolerances to specific carbs, and that's an individual thing. But demonizing an entire food group isn't fair to it or to you. Nourishing your body while you're in a deficit matters. You want what you're eating to actually fuel your life and your health, not just get you through the day. And number 3, I would strength train. If I'm losing weight after 40, preserving muscle isn't optional. It's the absolute priority. And one of the strongest signals you can send your body to hold onto that muscle is resistance training. I'd aim for at least 2 to 3 sessions per week. Focus on the big muscles like your glutes, your legs, back, and chest. Compound movements train several muscle groups at once, so you're getting the biggest return on your time. This doesn't mean you need to train to become a competitive powerlifter or a weightlifter. It just means training to be functional now and 50 years from now. It means building muscle so you don't develop osteoporosis, so you don't fracture something and lose your independence as you get older. Movements like the squat, hinging like a deadlift, pushing like a push-up, pull like a row or a lat pull down, and carrying something, getting stronger over time. And if you're brand new to this, you start with where you're at, not where someone you follow on Instagram is, or even where someone in your own life is. Because I don't just want to weigh less when this is over. I want to be stronger physically, yes, but I also want to feel stronger, healthier, and more resilient internally. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. It matters for glucose metabolism, and it's one of the biggest things that we're trying to protect as we get older. By the way, if you're new here, this is basically the whole philosophy of this channel. Strength first, everything else builds around it. Hit subscribe if that's the kind of thing that you want more of. I break down topics like this every week. Number 4, I'd move more, not just work out more. Yes, I'd get regular cardiovascular exercise in, but I'd also pay attention to how much I'm actually moving throughout the rest of my day. Walking matters, taking the stairs matters, getting up from your desk matters. A minute of bodyweight squats between tasks or a 10-minute walk after dinner. All of that counts as real movement, not just filler. And there's actually research on this. A study following more than 25,000 adults who didn't do any structured exercise found that people who got brief bursts of vigorous movement throughout their day, climbing stairs quickly, carrying groceries, that kind of thing, had a significantly lower risk of dying over the following years, even without a single formal workout. Movement scattered throughout the day isn't a consolation prize. It counts. Because here's the trap that many people fall into. You can work out hard for an hour and then spend the rest of your 15 waking hours basically motionless. So I look at what my day actually looks like and build up on that gradually, not overnight. Any little bit counts. I know we've all heard the 10,000 steps a day rule. Here's a fun fact. That number didn't come from a study. It came from a Japanese speedometer company in 1965 that literally named their product the 10,000 steps meter because it was a catchy round number for a box. It wasn't science, it was marketing. The real research puts the meaningful benefit closer to 7,000 steps a day. That's roughly where a large analysis found the biggest drop in the risk of death compared to people who were barely moving. So if you're at 3,000 steps a day right now, don't aim for 10,000 overnight. Aim for 4,000. Hold it there for a couple of weeks until it's automatic and then build up from there. And I'd absolutely still include intentional cardio, not only because we're trying to lose weight, but because we're trying to get and stay healthy long term. Moderate or high intensity aerobic exercise trains your heart. It builds cardiovascular fitness that's going to matter for the next several decades. Guidelines recommend at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise a week. That means walking with your heart rate elevated, not a leisurely stroll. Leisurely walking is great, it counts as general movement. But moderate intensity means if you were talking to someone next to you, they could tell that you are working because you'd be a little short of breath. So in general, when it comes to training, I'd strength train 2 to 4 times a week. I'd get at least 7,000 steps a day, and I'd get my heart rate up on purpose sometimes. Moderate intensity work most of the time, plus 1 HIIT session a week, which consists of warming up for 5 to 10 minutes, then doing short, hard intervals of 15 to 20 seconds all out, recovering in between, and doing that for a handful of rounds. Both types of cardio matter. They're just doing different jobs. Number 5, I'd prioritize recovery. And this is the one people often skip. I'd start with sleep. Am I actually getting enough? Am I waking up rested or just waking up? Do I snore? Could this be sleep apnea? Because sleep runs the whole show. Muscle growth, hunger, food choices, recovery, how you train, your metabolic health overall. And here's the part that trips people up. The training is the stimulus. Recovery is where your body actually adapts and gets stronger. Skip the recovery and you're just accumulating fatigue, not progress. I'd also go looking for medical factors that could be working against me. Medications, thyroid disease, insulin resistance, or diabetes, and sleep apnea. And yes, depending on your age and symptoms, hormones may be part of that picture. For a man with the right symptoms, that might mean being evaluated and treated for testosterone deficiency. For a woman, especially in her 40s and beyond, that conversation might include perimenopause or menopause and may consist of estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone replacement. Hormones play a huge role in building and maintaining muscle as we get older and other signals of our metabolic health. So they're worth considering as we age. Hormones are not a magic weight loss button, but if there's something underneath all of this that's making it harder to sleep, to train, to recover, to hold on to muscle, to just feel like yourself, I want to find it and treat it because it actually plays a huge role in your health and your daily life. So if I were over 40 and needed to lose 20 pounds, I would not be chasing the fastest way to move the scale. I'd evaluate my current baseline, where I'm actually starting from what I'm eating to how I'm sleeping to my waist circumference, my blood pressure, all of that. When it comes to nutrition, I prioritize protein and real food quality. Strength training would be essential, and I'd focus on building muscle. I'd move more throughout my whole day, not just during a workout. And I take recovery and my overall health seriously enough to look for what might be working against me. And yes, life happens, and it's hard to do all of this perfectly. The key isn't perfection, it's consistency, despite whatever life throws at you. Because the goal was never just 20 pounds. The goal is a body that can carry you strong through the next 40 and 50 years. Let me know in the comments, which one of these 5 are you already doing and which one have you been skipping? I read every comment. If you want help putting this together for your specific life, let's talk. I offer a free 15-minute consult, link is in the description below. No pressure, just a conversation, and we can figure out the best way to work together towards a stronger, healthier, and more confident version of yourself. And if you found this information helpful, I'd love if you'd subscribe and share it with a family or friend who needs to hear it. I break down exactly this kind of thing every week. I'll see you in the next one.